introduction of InfosecTrain, and most of you guys who are here, you will be knowing that we are working on this field for a very long time, and we provide professional training programs, certification, and consulting service in the IT and cybersecurity domain. We have the cloud-based uh, uh, cloud-based courses, training. We have the data science. We have the cybersecurity domain. Okay, so we have the high quality technical service, certification, or customized training program curated with the professional of over 15 years of combined experience in the different domains. And I think up to now, you guys will be pretty much familiar with the years you have joined the session. So if you will be having any doubt, any question, any query regarding any training, you can drop them into our website. In the end, I will be giving you whole methodology that how you can reach up to that point. Okay. Now, this is a bit of the endorsement and the our client list, which you can just check. Okay, so we will be now moving ahead, and you can see that we are the global learning partner of the different organization like Microsoft, Comcia, EC Council, PECB, okay, ISACA, right? So these are some of our global learning partners which is there. And today's webinar agenda is simply, simple agenda that we have for today. We are having here, first, we will be looking into the most common questions in the cloud. So whenever cloud-based interview questions we are asking, you can always expect some basic question. I have said in the venue of the, your interviews and all. So I know that, if someone has to start, starting up the your whole cloud-based interview, so they are not directly going to jump into the asking that, okay, how you are going to deploy the VPN, what kind of the VPN services is provided by the Azure. They will be starting with slow, very basic cloud question. Okay, even you are setting for the some expert level like solution architect, you have to deploy the whole solution. Still, you will be asked the very pretty basic questions as well, that what is the common questions agenda for you, right? What is the very common question regarding the cloud, and not only in the Azure, any of the cloud program, those questions which can be asked to you. We will be starting with those kind of the pretty basic questions. Then we will be moving ahead into the more on the around 10 of the Azure interview questions we will be seeing with this one, and around 5 to 6 questions regarding the your common question regarding the cloud we will be seeing in the your first section. Now let's just move ahead. Okay, and okay, for few of the guys I can see, their audio connection is showing the cross sign. Maybe, audio is not. Let's just go ahead. Right. So first we will be starting with the what are the most common question of the cloud, right? So in the most common question, very basic question, I think you have asked this thing. I have asked my, many of the interns, or when anyone is joining us. So simply even in the security courses or anywhere, I always start with one simple thing. Okay, what is cloud computing, or what you think that your cloud computing is? Everyone has their different opinion, different answers. Someone will be giving me the very bookish answer, and to be honest with you guys, I'm not going to give you some structured answer, although there will be some reference answer which you can read and I will be reading as well. But my primary goal will be to explain the concepts that are going to be there, and let you know that what this question is all about. Okay, what you will be understanding from this question, so that you can answer it. So you are not going to repeat what I am saying word by word. You will be just picking up the uh, soul of that answer, that what it meant, and after that you will be just going ahead and giving the answer in your own words. That is what I want from you. If you're sitting in an interview, rather than copying any word or giving the bookish answer, try to explain those concepts. Okay, so that will be, we'll be starting with the very first questions, that would be your cloud computing. So what is the cloud computing? So when we talk about this thing, and reference answer is this, that what is the cloud computing? So how I explain always the cloud computing is, I give the example of your Netflix over here. Okay, why I give the example of the Netflix? Most of the time you'll be seeing me this comparing these two things, because I always say, your cloud computing is one of the on-demand delivery of the your computing service. Okay, just like if you remember, we used to have the DTH service or cable service, which used to give us the on-demand movies, right? So similar to that, we have this feature here as well, which is giving us the on-demand delivery of the computing service. So if you remember the Netflix, so what Netflix is doing, you are paying for the subscription, and what you are getting, anytime any movie that is in that particular what you will say in their database, you can look for them, right? They have rights, you can watch them anytime, anywhere, on any device which support it. Okay, you can go ahead and watch it. So same is for the your cloud computing as well. Any computing service, or I would say on demand, your IT services. Simple, you can explain it like the on demand IT service. So it could be including your servers, workstation, storage, database, networking, software analytics. Okay, these kind of the all the services. And even nowadays security also is coming as security solutions are also coming as your cloud based resources. One of the Azure's own security service is your Azure Sentinel, which is a SIM and a SOAR solution, right? So it could be any security related service, database related service, storage itself, a virtual machine, it could be a web application, it could be any third party software as well. So whatever you want to use, on demand computing service or IT service, that would be called your cloud computing. Now, cloud computing, it is going to offer you fast innovation, flexible resource, and economy of scale. Means it is, I would say, we can say the bit cheaper option, flexible. Or we will be talking about the. I think there will be one question about the benefits of the your cloud. So there you'll be talking about advantage. I think next question will be the same. So there you'll be saving the flexibility and the faster innovation means think that what kind of architecture you want and you are deploying it. So cloud computing is on-demand IT service in single liner, right? So this is your cloud computing. Next question, as I was saying, what are the advantages of cloud computing? Now, this is going to be something that by now many people will be kind of, mug this thing, right? They remember this word by word that we have the some of the features of your or advantage of the cloud computing is high availability, okay, scalability, elasticity, agility, your geo distribution, disaster recovery. Okay, you can have these kind of the things as well. Okay, so unless someone is asking you to explain what is high availability, what is scalicity, elasticity, agility, geo-distribution, disaster recovery, you don't need to explain them. Okay, so few example for the disaster recovery is that you can enable your backup of your on-premise and even cloud solution on the cloud service provider, store them, and there are the features that it will start, whenever you want, it can start failover services. Geo distribution is as your cloud service provider is all around the globe, so you can deploy your resources all around the globe itself. Okay, and then there will be these things like scalability, scaling your system if suddenly a workload is coming and you will feel that your RAM like 8 gigs is not enough, you want to increase the RAM or you want to deploy another VM which can handle or distribute the load, you can do that. And to enable it quickly, so as your demand is changing, you are increasing it, scaling up, or if you have to scale down as soon as that demand goes down. So to enable enabling this scalability, you will the feature would be your elasticity. So the elasticity is going to enable the scalability over there, and this is very agile itself. You want to quickly provision it, deprovision these kind of the VMs, any workstation, any architecture, it will be highly agile, right? Apart from this, based on the service you are using, there is going to be the availability defined for each particular resources. Like if I talk about the Azure, there will be the when we are talking about the single VM without any your availability set or anything. So there will be your service level agreement for that would be 99.5%, that it will be available 99.5% of the time. Now, when I am talking about your simple storage account with your what we call it, LRS, local redundant storage. So it will be giving you the 11 nines. Okay, 11 nines of the SLA. So 11 nines is your 9.99.999 up to this total number of nines are 11. So 11 9 is going to be your availability for the storage account with the LRS. Okay, similarly there are GRS, GRS, multiple options that are available over here. So these are the your uh, some of your advantage of the Azure. Okay, so that's the not Azure, your cloud, right? Simply any cloud. Now, next question is the same one thing from the your cloud itself. What is the scalability of cloud computing? So if we are talking about the scalability of the cloud computing, we are talking about the okay, so there are two kind of the scalability. Okay, let's say, as I was giving you the example, let's say that this VM was hosting some web application and traffic was coming from the your internet. Suddenly this load increase, it was having a lot of the load, and it is unable to handle that kind of the load. Now you need to deploy another VM like this. Okay, there could be two things. First is vertical scaling. So vertical scaling is the one where the configuration tends to increase the existing capacity of the machine, just like you expand the size of the RAM from 4 GB to 32. So when we are talking about the vertical scaling, this VM is, let's say that it was having 4 gigs of RAM, you increase it to, let's say, 16 gigs, right? Suddenly you feel 16 gigs is not enough. Let's say that it was running the batch processes. Okay, it required more. Batch processing was running. You make it the 32 GB. So this will be the vertical scaling. Second thing is going to be your horizontal scaling, which is one of the another aspect where the physical aspect is increased, like putting multiple machines at work instead of replacing an existing machine. So what you want in the same machine, you want to increase or you want to deploy another machine with the same kind of your configuration. Like it was having the 8 gigs of RAM, it will be also having the 8 gigs of RAM, 1 TB of storage, 1 TB of storage, right? So this will be your horizontal scaling that would be there. So if how quickly there will be this feature that with the time how quickly you can deploy another resource like this, which will be helping you to balance the workload itself. Okay, now there are two more things. Remember, one will be the scale up. So always you are increasing, like from for 4 to 16 to 32 you are doing, you deploy one machine, you may be requiring another machine to work for the same workload. So this is it. But remember, as we are talking about the cloud, so cloud, we have something which we call the pay as you go. So these machine or the RAM that you are using, okay, so if you have hourly based charges, many of the sources is hourly based charge, and if one VM, let's say that this config was taking your 5 rupees 5.95 Indian rupees per hour, so this will be again costing the same, this will be again costing the same itself, right? So this will be something that will keep going on. Right, let's say that suddenly this load was gone, task is done, process is completed, but still, if you will be having the same three of the VMs in there, you have to pay for it. Or still, if you are running on the 32 gigs machine, right? So there you will be seeing that, okay, I have to pay for this one extra, right? And just I want to show you that what and how the charges will be. This is one of my demo account. So in here, if okay, let me open any VM right now. These will be in this top district, all of these VMs right now. So here, if you will be seeing that what I'm having your 8 gigs of RAM, which is having the 4 gigs of RAM, 2 virtual CPU and 4 GB of memory. That is what I am having. right? Now, if I have to increase its size, so there will be the option of size over here. And in this part, you can see if you want to change size, you want to go with the 8 gigs, you can resize it. This is also 8 gigs. You will have 8D series here, which can have the 16 gigs of RAM. This disk and everything will be changing, right? So these kind of the things you have to pay. So wherever you are doing the scale up, remember, whenever this workload is done, task is done, you need to also do the scale down as well, right? That deallocate, deprovision this VM, deprovision this VM. So bring back from this 32 to 16, 16 to back to 4 gigs of the RAM, right? To you have to be cost effective as well. So always keep this factor also in mind, that you need to do a scale up and a scale down both, and this would be enabled via your elasticity. Okay, now again, next question would be your what kind of services are offered in the cloud. Now, this could be same, as we are talking very basic questions. So these question could be asked to you anywhere, any kind of the cloud interview, not only the Microsoft Azure, but anywhere, right? So first section is totally dedicated to this. So 4 to 6 question to everyone, so that everyone can have a common base. And then we will be jumping into the your Azure part. So what kind of these services are offered in the cloud? So most of you will be familiar. Three basic services. We are not talking other, because there are the different, okay, tens of different services that would be there. But there is going to be always the three basic services: infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. So in infrastructure as a service, this will be a paid service which will be providing the user high level API. It is an instant computing infrastructure that managed and provisioned over internet. Examples are Azure VM and Amazon EC2. So this is the very bookish of your language. So let me tell you in the layman language that when I'm talking about the infrastructure as a service, I simply mean that from my cloud service provider, I'm calling it the CSP, I will be asking them, okay, hey buddy, just give me your, let's say 8 gigs of RAM, okay, 1 TB of the disk. Allow me to add up to the 4 disks, okay, data disk later. Okay, give me the two virtual CPU core. Those should be enough. Give me the, Windows Server 2021. So whatever you like, you will be defining that this infrastructure I want. Now, your cloud service provider will be giving you the same infrastructure, network and everything. Now, it will be your task to go ahead and maintain this particular service itself. You are going to maintain this, means updating the operating system, installing the application. Do you want to install ASP.NET in here? Do you want to host the any web server like IIS in here? So whatever you have to do, any application you will be installing, you will be going ahead, managing it, patching it, all will be your task. Okay, so this will be the first thing that will be there. Now, second is going to be your platform as a service. So let's just say that, I am a developer and I think, okay, why should I go and create a VM and handle it, right? Install all that ASP.NET and dependency files, library, IS server, host it. I don't want to take this kind of the headache. So what I will want to do is, I'm looking for some service that is provided by the Azure, which will be like your, I will be focusing on writing my code. I will be selecting things like for running my application, how much space and memory would be enough, and then underlying operating system, selection, updating it, managing it, patching it. Okay, creating or having those dependency file, all should be the task for your cloud service provider. Like one of the simple, the example that I am giving to you, you can find it in your Azure itself. Okay, so you can go to the create a resource. There will be the things like the Azure web app, SQL database. So these are the some of your platform as a service, where if you are creating a web application, it will be just simply asking you that, okay, what will be the name of the web application? The code's runtime stack will be ASP.NET, Java, Node, PHP, Python, Ruby, what it will be. Okay, so if you are selecting the runtime stack like .NET, so it can run on both operating system, Linux and Windows, right? So you have to select which one you want, because in the end it will be hosted on some VM, so where it should be running, right? Although you don't have to manage that underlying VM or anything, you will be just focusing on your code and publishing it. Okay, but if you will be selecting things like ASP.NET, it will be the single option that will be the Windows. It does not run with the Linux. So this is something that you will be doing. And this is kind of service where underlying the service allow multiple developers to work on your single project without having to worry about the management of the hosting, the infrastructure. So like Azure SQL, Azure Storage, these kind of your platform as a service, where simply you will be saying that I want to do this, and underlying infrastructure will be managed by the cloud service provider. Then there is your software as a service. So best example for this would be your Microsoft 365 suite, your G Suite, right? You can say, any software. This time you are not even developing the code, you are just using the service. Okay, so using 365, you are using the G Suite, you are using your things like uh, Drive, Google Drive, you are using the calendar. So all these are these, your cloud-based service that you are using, and they are the software as a service, right? So these are the three basic service. And if someone will try to confuse you that there is have you didn't you heard about the function as a service, container as a service, database as a service, disaster recovery as a service. So what has start happening, whatever kind of service was someone was providing, they will start calling it that. They start providing security, so security as a service. So instead of doing all this thing, you can define XaaS. X is your anything as a service, right? You keep adding these terms, okay? But there is going to be the basic three terminologies for this one. Now, let's just move ahead to the next question. So 6 question in the basic and 10 question in the Azure will be seen. So fifth one is are you aware about the different deployment types of the cloud? And again, one of the very basic cloud question. So up to the question that we have seen up to this point, all of them could be asked you in any kind of the cloud interview, not only in the Microsoft Azure, but anywhere. Now, if we are talking about the deployment type, so there is your private, public, and hybrid, three basic ones. So private cloud is like you know, your organization, let's say that we have the KPMG, Deloitte, E&Y, okay, PwC. So what they have done is they have created their own data center where they have their own machines, and they are giving their own servers, and of that data center they are giving the access to only their employee of KPMG, Deloitte. Only them they are giving the access to them, not everyone. Maybe under some signing of NDA and some agreement. After that, maybe few of their vendor, right? Very limited use. So that would be your private cloud deployment, where you own the infrastructure and cloud provider allow you to get the service exclusively. That kind of the things will be your private cloud. Then there will be the public cloud deployment, where even I am going ahead like your AWS, your Azure, your GCP. All these are example of the public cloud. I as a Rishabh Kotiyal, I am going over there and I am creating my account. Then a company name, let's say the Reliance or your KPMG coming, they are also creating their own account over here. Okay, so these are open for everyone. Okay, so this is one where you get multi-tenant infrastructure from the service provider exclusively. Now in your private cloud you have more control. So if you have to follow some of the guidelines, if you have to follow some of the your compliance and you want the more control of your data, private cloud you will be preferring all the time. But if you want to use the advantage of the public cloud, like high scalability, availability, cheap resources, right? You don't, your capex versus opex, your benefits. So there you will be opting for the public cloud deployment model. And hybrid will be combination of both when you want to use both of the best words. So your private plus public will be your hybrid cloud infrastructure. Now, apart from these, there are a few more things like the community cloud. Okay, and a simple example to explain the community cloud will be when multiple organization they are coming together to deploy a particular your solution, right? To deploy a particular your community cloud solution means what they will be doing. They, let's say Microsoft, AMD, your Nvidia, different organizations they come together and they start working on a project. Okay, and they start giving someone the access. All of them are maintaining and for the public use for testing and all, they are giving that shared environment. That would be a community cloud. For example, all the colleges in let's say in US they came together, okay, and they created an environment where anyone who is having the college ID can come and experience labs on the different subjects, right? And that all labs are deployed in the cloud. So that would be a community cloud. Okay. And then there is going to be something like the multi-cloud as well. So in the multi-cloud, nowadays organization, they are not settle up with the only one of your resource. They are what they are doing. They are coming with the your they are having the subscription of your AWS, GCP. They are having the your subscription of your uh, Azure, AWS, GCP, IBM, Oracle, different cloud service provider. They are not, they are using. Everyone is providing different set of services, and they want to use all of them, whichever suits them best. So that would be your multi-cloud. So these things are some of the different deployment model. And remember, guys, if anyone is directly asking you, these are the always your basic your deployment types. Okay, so okay, 5 questions we are having from the very basic cloud computing. Now we will be switching back to our more related to the Azure. So I am hoping if you are sitting here, at least you have the bit of the fundamental knowledge regarding the AZ Azure. So at least if someone is still interested, you guys can do the AZ 900, which is pretty basic. Even a small course it is going to be. You can self-read it as well. Okay, from the Microsoft official guide. So I'm not going to promote myself here that read it through me, although nowadays it's pretty busy to talk that. But yes, I would be saying a small course you can go through the those easy 900 pretty quickly within hours, right? Very simple code which will be telling you what are these services, what is the cloud, what services are provided by the Azure. So we will be do- just be deep diving over there, that what is happening, how things are happening as well. Okay, right? So just this thing. So first question that we will be talking about, that is going to be your how to define the Azure administration. Okay, so that would be the first thing that we are going to discuss as well. Okay, uh, just give me a sec, guys. Okay, sorry guys, yeah, sorry for the bit of the interruption. Yes, so how you will be defining the Azure administration. Okay, now an Azure administrator is going to be liable for executing, observing, and keeping up the Microsoft Azure solution and incorporate major services related to compute, storage, network, and security. Okay. Now, when we have to define the Azure administration task, we'll be defining simply the person is going to be held accountable or liable for simply any solution you want to deploy. How you are going to deploy first? Let's say that a VM you are deploying, which may be hosting a web server. So how the network is going to be for this one? Okay, what will be the network? Let's say you have to deploy it within a Vnet. What subnet or where it is going to be? Then if it has to communicate with a database, so what kind of the database storage size it will be requiring, whether it will be in the same subnet or another subnet. If it is in another subnet, how it is going to communicate, right? If it requires something to store in the storage account or network or some of the basic configuration of security, like should this be accessible publicly to anyone, or you will be deploying some security solution in between? What is your idea, what you want, right? So this will be something the regarding that will be the task of the Azure administrator to handle services related to all compute, storage, network, and the bit of the security as well. And if you are the security administrator, you will have to incorporate the security concepts in there: securely accessing, securely doing admin tasks, IAM, role assignments. Okay, all these things you have to deal completely, right? Now, another question that could be asked to you, uh, that could be deal with the your Active Directory, right? So what is the Azure Active Directory and how it is related to the subscription? That could be the your another question, which is incorporating two concept. One is related to your subscription as well, and another is what is Active Directory. So what I'm going to do, guys, actually question number 3, I have defined that define the Azure subscription. So let me just start with this first. Okay, so uh, first we have to define what is the Azure subscription. Okay, and you can read the reference answer over here, but I would like to start with this something pretty non-technical kind of thing so that everyone can understand. Okay, so simply Azure is there, and what is the motive of Azure, right? One thing is providing you the service, but why they are providing you service? They want to earn money, right? So nothing is for free in this world. Okay, so on the same note, Azure want to earn more money, and if you are using Azure services, you have to pay for them. If I am going to the Azure portal and saying, okay, create me a VM, okay, I want to create a VM. So that's not going to be the case where Azure will be saying, okay, just create account and start creating the VM. Okay, anyone for 1 year, 2 year, keep creating the VM. We are doing this for the you know good of the public. No, what they will be asking you, okay, I will allow you to create a VM, but where I should be charging you or how I should be charging you for that. Okay, so just like you go to the Netflix and let's just remove that 1 month free trial or anything kind of the thing out of the way. Okay, so they will be asking that, okay, you want to go ahead and let's say that, what is hit nowadays, let's say for example, I think in December they launched the Witcher season 2. So let's just say that you want to see that the Witcher season 2. So you'll be going there and let's say you have created the account and you are clicking on that, I want to see the Witcher, right? So what they will be saying, no, okay, I will be let you see this thing, but where is your subscription? Which subscription you have subscribed to, right? So subscription is what you have selected your plan, right? 4 screen ones, 2 screen, 1 screen, mobile device, what kind of the plan you have selected? Tell me. Now, against that particular one, I will let you see the particular show. So same thing is going to happen in the Azure as well. That Azure subscription is going to be the logical arrangement under which you can access Azure resources. It will be accommodating the information about all your resources like virtual machine, database, and more. Okay. So in simple term, they have actually used a very good term which you can use while you are giving the interview, that Azure subscription is a logical arrangement under which we can access the different Azure resources. It will be talking that what you want to use or accommodate, like VM, DB, what you want to do. If you will be creating any Azure resources like VM, okay, so there will be the option that which subscription it belongs to. Okay, anything you are creating here as well, a web app I'm creating, first thing it is asking me that what is your subscription. So this is my subscription name, and I can have multiple subscription. And that's why when you create an Azure resource like a VM, you distinguish it from the subscription it belongs to. So where it is being charged. So there could be two VM like VM1 and VM2, and they can be, you know, charged against the different subscription. Subscription 1, this could be charged against the subscription 2, right? So simply your Azure subscription is going to denote billing entity and your security boundary. This is a kind of the container that is going to hold the users and monthly charges for the your Azure services, right? So this is your Azure subscription. It is pretty similar to the Netflix or any other subscription that you have purchased. It's even a Spotify subscription. So if you have those kind of the subscription, you will be easily relating to the your Azure subscription. Now, my second question, okay, which was saying that the what is Azure directory and how it is related to the subscription. Okay, how Azure directories are related to the subscription. Now, first of all, what is Azure Active Directory? Or in short, many people call it the AAD. So if you guys are familiar with the Active Directory, it is same and it is in the Azure. So when we are talking about the Azure Active Directory is going to be your cloud-based directory, a simple version of the cloud-based directory that what we were having. Now, what is our Active Directory? If in a simple term I have to say, it would be a database for your users identity, the roles they have, the permissions they have, right? A simple place that would be that. And when I'm talking about the Azure Active Directory, commonly referred as the Azure AD, is cloud-based identity and access management service that will assist in managing the subscription, right? So managing the Azure resources in simple term, helping you to assist that. So if you have to see what we will be defining in Azure Active Directory, simple thing, just like in the any other Active Directory, you are using or defining uh, any other resources. It is going to do the same thing over here as well. Like when we are talking about creating more user, so within a single directory, let me just show you it on the portal itself. If I go, this is the Azure Active Directory. Okay, on the left hand side, you can find it here as well. You can go onto this part. Okay, here in this one, what you can do, you can perform the different options. Like you can go ahead and create multiple users. Okay, you will be having option to create users. You will be having option to create groups. Defining identity for application, registering device, enabling these multi-factor authentication, creating the different directory, attaching multiple subscription as well. Okay, so that is going to be in there. Okay, a lot of the things that you will be going on and working with, this is going to be in there itself, that how it is going to work, how it is going to do, all these kind of things are going to be there. Now, registering, giving someone identity, multi-factor authentication, security part, getting the logs, a lot of things are going to be part of the Azure AD. Now here you can define user, define them the roles and all the kind of things. Now how it is connected with the your subscription. So the technical answer that would be here, that Active Directory, Azure Active Directory has one to many relationship with the subscription. Remember, one-to-many, right? One-to-many relationship with the subscription. And Azure subscription can only trust single Active Directory, but multiple subscription can be associated with the single Azure Active Directory instance. So what it want to say here? So if this is your Azure Active Directory, okay, so I'm just trying to draw this kind of thing. This is your Azure Active Directory. So it can have multiple relationship with the subscription. Okay, this key is representing the subscription. So within one Active Directory, there could be the multiple subscription. Okay, this is one-to-many relation. Okay, so at any point, there is one very specific line. If you will be deep diving into the AZ500 and reading the books and study material, you will be finding one line over there that at any time, well, a subscription, okay, there will be only one-to-one relationship between a subscription and your AD. Means at any time, subscription will be trusting one single directory. Any subscription will be trusting at one single directory. Means whenever someone is deploying the resources, if someone is launching a VM or any other resource in here, and it will be just checking, okay, you are launching a VM against this subscription, that's good, but do that user, if this is a user, is this user, this user is part of this Active Directory or not? Does this user have the proper permission to deploy a VM in the subscription or not? So for a subscription, at one single time, one subscription will be trusting only one Active Directory. Okay, so there could be a place where you could have multiple directory, but one subscription will be trusting only one Active Directory at a time. Okay, if you want to later change the association between that, you will be doing. But if let's say that there is some another Active Directory as well, right, which was there. Now, if you want to establish a relationship between this and this, right, you have to discard this relation first, disable this relation and enable the trust with this Active Directory. So at one time, one subscription is going to trust only one Active Directory. That's it. Okay, but remember, one-to-many means within one single Active Directory there could be multiple subscription which is trusting the your Azure Active Directory. So this is the relationship between the Azure Active Directory and the subscription. Okay, now let's just go to the question number 4. Can an organization have more than one Azure Active Directory? Okay, I think I missed the active part over there, but I'm talking about the AAD. And yes, I think I just give the answer for that. That yes, any organization is entitled to more than one Azure Active Directory. And for this thing, let me just go in here. Okay, this was the Azure Active Directory. There will be the options like manage the tenants. So in the manage the tenant, this is my default directory that is there. Okay, only single directory that I am having. Let's say that you want to create another instance of the directory. So here, create a tenant. You will be saying that I want to create an Azure Active Directory. You will be going to the configuration, doing its all configuration over here, review and creating the directory itself. So yes, any organization is entitled to go ahead and create the your more than one Azure Active Directory. Next question. Next question will be, what are the roles and responsibility of an Azure administrator? So we will be discussing them as well. So when we are talking about this, so any Azure administrator is responsible for executing, monitoring, and maintaining the Azure solution and providing significant services related to computing, network, security, and storage that we have talked about, right? So Azure administrator are likewise expected to manage storage solution for VM, virtual machine hard disk, database file, user data, and application data. So this thing we have already discussed that, okay, what you will be doing, you will be going ahead and you will be working with the different responsibility, going creating the VM. Okay, there will again, if you have the permission on the subscription as well, who will be the subscription administrator, billing cycle, how when the billing cycle is more subscription required to purchase or not, creating them, databases. I already give the very good example in the first question, that understanding what is your requirement, how you will be going ahead, how you will be maintaining the things, that would be the part of this, okay, of your administrator roles. Then a simple question, I think you will be doing or dealing with the virtual machine from a very long time. So define the Azure virtual machines. So we will be defining the Azure virtual machines. What is the Azure virtual machine? So virtual machine, just like any other virtual machine we have, we deployed it on the Azure. It's a simple answer, right? Okay. Word to word, very sophisticated answer would be Azure virtual machine are your on request computing resource, or virtual machines are offered by Microsoft Azure, right? So we can normally utilize a VM as assistant when needed and shut down the system when not being used. These virtual machines are classified under the infrastructure as a service bracket and in the Azure. And with the Azure virtual machine, you can get more direction over the environment to modify the development environment or hosting. So simple. It is telling about all the feature of the IaaS in the your language. So what is Azure virtual machine? Azure virtual machine is, it is just like having a physical machine which you are not, when you are deploying any Azure virtual machine, you don't need to purchase any of the hardware resources. Simply going to my cloud portal, I can ask Azure to give me a machine which will be running with the specific RAM, memory, specific your storage, disk, speed, virtual CPU. I can demand my, you know, requirements to the my cloud service provider, which is Azure. Okay, here you will see the options like, selecting a resource group. I'm selecting anything. Uh, Giving this virtual machine a name like virtual machine webinar. Okay, going here in which region you want to deploy this machine, right? Keeping rest of the things as it is. An image. Do you want to create a Linux base? You can choose your own operating system, Windows 10 Pro 2019 data center. If your Oracle is there, Debian base, Red Hat, SUSE, right? Different Windows version. If you want to see more, you will have the option to see all the different images that is available in the marketplace itself. The different servers, Ubuntu servers, LAMP, uh, hundreds of the machines image you will be finding in this particular place, right? Creating a virtual machine and all. Now you will be defining the size, right? What is the size? So if you will noticing some things over here, you can select these are the popular sizes, right? So how many virtual CPUs you want, you can select. RAM you required, the data disk that you want to add, apart from the temporary storage and apart from the operating system disk, how many disk you can add, 2, 4, 8, 16, whatever you like. Maximum input output per second. Then temporary storage that I will be talking about, right? Two disk will be automatically there. One will be the OS disk, another will be the temporary storage, which will be your size will be varying like this. Does it support your premium disk or not? And what is the cost? So cost is still loading over there. Okay, so you can see some of the cost in the INR over here. That what will be the cost on this point. So this is whole your Microsoft Azure that is there. You're creating a VM, defining the password. You can make the settings on the disks, what disk you want. Okay, encryption in those disks and everything. Then thinking about the networking, how the virtual network will be, public subnet, IP addresses. Do you want public IP address? Do you want the network security group and all those kind of things, right? Then hmm, management like, do you want to enable the boot diagnostics and all, auto shutdown, Azure AD, advanced systems like running some scripts, installing some software in advance, okay, installing some services in advance that you can select. Then there will be the review and create over here. Okay, although it will be failing because I haven't completed the all the basic information, but this is how you will be creating a VM on the Azure. Now, question number 7. Energy is something which will be used in the Azure security for the purpose of the Azure security basically. So in the Azure security or in the Azure admin, both places, this question could be asked that how you will be defining the energy network security group and its creation. Okay, so when we are talking about the energy, how I define energy, first let me just give me my layman term. So I define that energy is just like your very basic packet filter firewall. Okay, just like your, okay, let me just write like just like packet filter firewall which we use, a very basic firewall that we have, which will be filtering the connection on the basis of the port, protocol, you know, and source and destination. Okay, source IP address, destination IP address, services. On the basis of that, it is going to refine the connection. It will be limiting the connection, or the inbound traffic or outbound traffic both. That will be coming either to a VM or to a subnet. So in simple term, you can attach it like the your attach it on the either on the VM directly, or you can attach it to the subnet. Only on the two place you can attach an energy, either on the VM or either on the subnet itself. So here, uh, now a standard answer, what would be that? That would be the service, and second part of this is how to create it. Okay, so that will be also there. So let's just go to the reference answer, that the services that are offered by the NSG help us allow or deny the explicit port to communicate with our services inside the subscription or outside of subscription. It has the rule that are first inbound rule. So this is your inbound rule. This is the rule which will be determining the traffic approaching from the internet to VM or particular service or the different VMs, right? Different set of VMs, or rather than it should be the subnet here, right? So if traffic is reaching, so it will be telling it that whether this kind of the inbound connection is allowed or not. Same, there will be the outbound rules as well, which will be determining traffic moving to the internet from your VMs or any particular service or VMs, whether that would be allowed or not. Not only internet, within the virtual network, or as well, that within the Vnet or within the Azure infrastructure, this kind of the traffic should be allowed, leaving reaching to the your within the your Azure infrastructure itself. So outboard or outbound rule, with that would be good for this one. Okay, not outboard. This is the outbound rules. Okay, few mistakes I have done in the PPT creation over here. Okay, now in order to create energy and to associate it to your VM, you need to follow the below. In all service search energy, provide the name, location, and resource group. Click on energy and create the energy. So how to create it? Let's just go to your portal. Okay, in what you can do always, create a resource, search here for the network security group. You will be writing, I think, network security group. This is it. So this is your NSG. You can click on create, select the subscription resource group. Okay, give it the name, the region you want to launch, and simply review and create. It will be done. Simple. Creation is simple, but I am not doing it right away. Okay, so let me show you it in the action. There was our VM1, right? And if I go to its networking options, Okay, so you can read this here, that inbound rule, outbound rule. So network security group with this name VMNSG1 is attached to the networking interface, and this VM here, right? This is enabled on this particular VM itself, VM1. Now, while this VM1 is enabled, VM1 NSG, this is the name of that NSG, and it is attached to the my VM itself because it is attached to my machine's network interface, right? I'll be showing you the both option. Just a minute. You can check the inbound rule. In the inbound rule, you can see the priority. I have created one JIT, just in time access. It is one of the security feature enabled with your Microsoft Defender for cloud. So it give you that feature. So I have enabled that just in time feature. Okay, so this feature is not going to be enabled by free, but yeah, if you are opting for choosing the Microsoft Defender plan, right, then it will be provided to you. Then you will be seeing inbound rules. What is RDP connection, from where RDP connection will be allowed. Okay, Vnet inbound rule, I have allowed another thing, and load balancer traffic, I have allowed it. Some of the outbound rules, like within a Vnet you can send the net traffic, internet you can access. Apart from that, everything is denied. So some same kind of the things we are doing in here itself, right? So this is something, inbound outbound rule, and this is that NSG. So if I'll be clicking on this link, it will be taking me to that network security group. This is that. Here you can see your inbound security rule, your outbound security rules. You can see your network interface itself. Okay, that what is a network interface. Okay, where it is attached. Now, either, as I was saying, either it can connect to a VM, but if it is connected to a VM, you will be seeing network interface here. If not, you will be seeing it in the subnet part, right? So if you want to attach it to any subnet, you can select, okay, select your virtual network like Key Vault, and in here, which subnet, subnet 1, subnet 2, select it and click on OK. And this particular NSG will be attached to that part itself. So this is the, how you'll be creating the NSG, where you can associate it. Okay, as I was saying, either you can associate it to the VM or to the your NSG itself. Oh, sorry, subnet itself, right? Now, next question will be, what is Azure load balancing and how it work? Okay, in our organization, we use the load balancer, and simple task of the load balancer is it is going ahead and balancing the load. So if from the internet, a lot of traffic is coming, so what you will be having a load balancer there. And after this, in your architecture, you will be having some redundancy, some redundant servers, right, which is hosting the same web application itself over here. Now when you have that redundant, your infrastructure running on this point, what you are going to do with it, this traffic will be coming, and it will be redirecting, this traffic based on the different scheduling algorithm. You will be redirecting this traffic to different web server. Okay, so all these, let's say that this is VM1 underscore 1, VM1 underscore 2, VM underscore 3. All these are hosting the same web application. So just redistributing the traffic, so that if someone is trying to do the attack on the you're doing the DOS kind of attack, so you can manage the traffic. So this will be handled here, okay, with the help of Azure Load Balancer, a simple load balancer. Now, when we talk about the Azure Load Balancer, it is a layer 4 TCP UDP based load balancer that distribute the incoming traffic among healthy VM to offer the high availability. A load balancer health probe check the specific port on each VM and send only the traffic to those that are up and running. So what your Azure load balancer is doing, it doesn't give you the option like in your, I think, on-prem, you can select this algorithm like You want round robin, come first serve, which kind of the scheduling algorithm you want. In here, you will be choosing on the basis of the health of your backend much pool devices, like there is the VMs which is there, and it will be sending health probe, TCP health probe packets over there. And if you keep repeating, you will be creating a rule which will be defining what is healthy, what is unhealthy. Like if you keep sending the TCP probe packets, and there are within the 5 minutes, if there are three consecutive failure, means for three TCP health probe, you didn't get the reply back. You'll be saying, okay, this VM is unhealthy. Do not send traffic to this one. Send the traffic to this one. This is healthy. As soon as it is again marked healthy, you will be start distributing the traffic between these. The Azure load balancer is the layer 4 load balancer, which will be balancing the traffic between your backend devices. Right. So this is one thing. Okay. So I think I have copied that question 2 times. Okay, let's just go to the next one. What tools are going to be used to create Vnet? Now, why I put this question in here? Because this is pretty basic one, but pretty basic, right? And how you can create a Vnet. But this will give you the bit of the idea which we haven't discussed in the very beginning itself. So what tools you are going to use to create the Vnets? So simply in Azure, what we can use? We can use a Azure portal, a PowerShell, Azure CLI command, and even a network configuration file, which will be the JSON, right? So I think most of you will be familiar with this part. So what we have, okay, we have first the portal. So if you have to create a VNet, I can go and create a resource from here, right? I can search the virtual network and create it from here, virtual network, and create it from here, from the portal. Second is, I have installed the your, Azure CLI. You can install it, in your devices, Linux, Mac, operating your Windows, anywhere. Okay, or in PowerShell as well. Okay, so there is the PowerShell as well, which you can launch as well, right? So we have the option of your Azure portal, PowerShell, Azure CLI. So Azure CLI module I have installed in here. So for that, I will be running the command az login, right? And it will be opening a portal for me. I will be logging in from here. Then I can run the command to go and create a VNet. Same in PowerShell, I will be having the PowerShell module or Azure module, and from there again I can write the command or give the command, or I can create a template of JSON file. Okay, so there will be something like the template deployment, deploy a custom template. Okay, I can either have the JSON file, okay, and use that one, or I can create my own JSON based file here. And just for the demonstration purpose, let me just select a quick thing. I'm giving it the name test. Click me. Okay. So this will be the JSON based configuration file. So this should be the JSON code for my creating my VNet. So these are the different options for you when you are thinking about creating a VNet. So CLI, PowerShell, portal, and the network configuration file in JSON format. These things you can use to deploy a VNet. Now, last question of the day. So we have seen 5 basic questions, 10 Azure related question today. This will be the last question. Okay, that would be, can we host a VM in one region and connect to another VM in another region? Okay, and what they actually want to ask you that, is there any way? Let's say if you guys will be familiar with the Azure basics, when I'm talking about the VM, so machines, these VM can be, launched with the VNet only, right? They need to be a part of a particular VNet, and VNets are the your regional resource. So let's say that it is deployed on the region 1, this VM1, right? Now we are having the VM2, and obviously if you want to deploy it in the region, another region, let's say region 2. So as VNet is your regional resource, means you need to deploy another VNet 2. If this is VNet 1, this is VNet 2, and you will be launching another one. Now how they can communicate? Okay, one thing is pretty obvious, over the internet, public internet, right? But is there any way that these machines can communicate with each other, within the Azure subscription itself, right? Within the Azure, your infrastructure. Okay, so first of all, yes, it is possible to host a VM in one region and connect to another region by setting up interconnectivity while creating the VNet to VNet connection between both regions. So there are, multiple options that you can use, and how to enable the, this VNet to VNet connection. So first of all, if you have heard about the VNet peering, so you can directly enable one-on-one VNet peering between the two VNets. And once you establish, so what it will be look like, it will look like both of them will be connected, and directly on the private IP access, both of them can communicate with each other. First will be the enabling the peering, and if you have to see the peering options, uh, uh, on my home, let me open one VNet. Okay, this is the VNet here. Okay, here there is going to be the peering option, right? And in this peering option, now if you will be seeing, I have option to add. So I'll be adding with which machine you want to connect. So this and this virtual network and the remote, with which one you want to create a connection. So peering is the one option. Now apart from that, another option is, using a VPN. Create a VPN, and once you create the VPN, what is going to happen? Once you create the VPN, with the VPN you will be having the option, you create the VPN, and with the VPN you have the option to, uh, when you have to enable the site to site connection, there will be the option of the VNet to VNet. So this will be actually pretty lengthy way, but yes, if you want to enable VNet to VNet connection like this, you can use the VPN service, which in Azure known as the Azure Virtual Network Gateway. So yes, it is possible, and these are the two different way of doing the same thing.